Hello, good morning, and happy Tuesday. Yes, Tuesday today. Uh, hello. Let's see. We're hopefully going to be able to finish up the figuring out this to-do server, getting our soft delete task going, and then looking through any of the questions we have about making sure that nobody can do something to other people's stuff. And then we can start looking into how the course, like the layout of the course and what we should be able to do there. So let's go ahead and get started. We should be able to soft delete a task. I guess before I start, let me double check. Yeah, so I want to look into this a little bit later. Soft delete a task. Okay, so we have routes, tasks. Well, first of all, Well, I guess first of all, it's the 404 that's getting right. So we just need a mod. We need this pub async function. I guess this is gonna be delete task. What are we gonna need to bring in here? Guess I could wait until the second. We're gonna have a result. I don't think I need to return anything, and this is gonna be an app error. Okay, so then back to here. Okay, yes, they have this delete method. We're going to use the handler in there. Now looking at this, we're getting a 405 for some reason. Oh, I wonder if it's method not allowed, as opposed to right. It's probably method not allowed because it's this exact same route here, but with a different method. So now we do a delete one. We want to mark you. We want to mark you as deleted, soft deleted. We already have a test for users, so I can actually just pull this in, and then we can just do those both at the same time. So we can bring extension user. We also need the database. What else do we need? Not. Oh, we need the ID. So that is. What is it? Task ID. Path. Task ID. That might be all we need. All right. So we first want our user. Okay, so we want our task, which is going to be a model, which will then turn into an active model, right? So let's do. Okay, find by ID. This will be the task ID. Can I not do where? We can get all. We can get one. Oh, filter. That's what it is. Filter column user ID is equal to user.id. Okay, so that should make that. We get this one that gives us the future, so we await it, which then gives us the result. So we're going to map error. I suppose here I just want to return an app error. And then question mark U. That gives us an option with a model inside. And I want an OK or else in the case that we can't find this. Okay, so you're going to be status code not found. That's how we get the model. And then I can turn this into an into active model. There. Okay. One line, kind of, that gives us this active model. We can now set the active model, set the deleted at on this, which means we need now. Okay, so can I do chrono? What was this? It was like a date time. Can I actually just call now? No. Seems to never really remember what that is. Chrono local now. That's what it is. Okay. Chrono local now. And then we can turn this into native UTC. That gives us a naive date time, which then we use in the database. Is that right? No, we do this chrono date time fixed offset from. Oh yeah, date time, and then we do fixed offset. Fixed offset from. Okay, that gives us a date time with a fixed offset, and then we want to associate this with the task. I wonder if I remember to put the deleted at with this time too, or if that was only if I only did one of the dates for it. But we'll find out. Okay, so then we do task dot deleted at you now equal a sum now. Oh, you now equal a set sum now. Then we save you. Which gives us, is that a result? Yeah, a result. Okay. I wonder if I can just return this, because that turns it into the appropriate thing. No, not the appropriate thing. Oh, because that gives me an active model back, and I don't really care about sending this back. Okay, so question mark u, and then okay, like that. All right, I think that does it. I think this will successfully delete our task. Let's find out if we did it correct. Okay, so we're able to soft delete a task. We should not be able to soft delete another user's task. Request failed is task code of 404. That feels odd. That should have just done exactly the same thing. Let's open up our test. Okay, so we have our first user, a second user. We create a task, and then we do a delete to tasks and the task ID. Oh, but yes, we send a 404 back because we can't find it. What are you expecting? Oh yeah, you're not expecting anything at all. You're expecting like a 200. Like, yeah, I did it. But in reality, we should get a 400 back. So let's change this. Okay, I think that'll make that one a little bit happier. Let's try again. Didn't get it. Okay, so expects is not defined. Probably spelling it correct would help. Just I just love how like you install the Rust Analyzer extension and you get all of the nice things with VS Code to just auto completion. Everything just works. Every once in a while you have to restart Rust Analyzer, but it's great with Node. It sometimes works. When it does work, it's great. When it doesn't work, which is a decent amount of time, it sucks. All right, all of these pass, so we can now soft delete tasks. Let's commit this. Oh, we have a warning too. Let's fix that. I brought in chroot by accident. Okay. Okay, so we can soft delete tasks. Now, I wanted to verify. Wrong one. I wanted to verify, are we testing that we cannot uncheck another user's task? So let's see where that is. So in TaskRUD, can we... Okay, so it should be able to mark a task as completed, should be a mark a task as not completed. Update all fields, update some of the fields, uncompleted task with an update. Should not be able to mark another user's task as completed. Should not be able to update another user's task. Okay, so probably want to do this one. So should not be able to mark as not completed. Okay, so I want this to be headers 1 because it's the first user. It's the first user's task, so I mark it as completed. And then I okay, so that I want to do exactly the same thing then. This is happy now. I want this to be successful, and then I want another one right after it. This will be headers 2. And we're going to uncomplete. I think that's what it was, right? Uncompleted, yeah. That's headers 2, so that should be a failure. That should drop us into the catch where we get this, got an error, and then we expect that. We find the task and we expect completed at to not be null. Okay, let's try this test. Maybe. Ah, there we go. It allows us to mark another task as not completed. Okay, so we need to fix this. That's going to be in routes here. We have mark completed. No, mark uncompleted. Oh, here we have a filter user ID. What? Receive false. Got error to be true. So there is no error. So this line did not run. When we did axios.put, that means it succeeded successfully. When we did headers 2 for this create task response, data ID. Okay, so we do this as user 1 task, put in second headers. Uncompleted is above the auth. It's mark uncompleted. Oh, I was looking at the wrong one. Mark uncompleted. Oh, I think I somehow didn't notice that it was filtered down, like closed down. Okay, so this one we need to put the filter in here. Which means we need the user. And then that should just work. Maybe. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So that we are okay. So we are checking that we can't uncheck another user's task. All types of updates, patch and atomic, are guarded so that users can't update any task that they want. All right. Well, we have only one type of update that we're doing, which is a patch, and then we have the checked and unchecked. So should not be able to update another user's tasks. I think this in here verifies that because there's only one update really. We have the puts for mark completed, and then we have the patch for update, and that's it. Then we have create task. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so um, let's no warnings. So verified that users not uncomplete another user's task. Okay, so if we have that there, I kind of want to look into what are the standards. Asitsu, hello. I was you've been here like every day for a long time. So it's nice to see that you're here again. You finally got off a call. So I guess like a little business call that took up the start time. Hopefully it went well. All right. Standards. And educational standards are really interesting. And I when I first started learning about education type stuff, I was told like, okay, we need to create some standards. And my mind immediately went back to like grade school, high school, um, elementary school, all those times when you're like, oh, the standardized tests, which are, at least in America, were considered terrible, horrible, and not great. Uh, but that's not really the fault of standards. That's more of like Congress, like politicians choosing what the standards are, which I've looked into some of them, at least like for a decent number of them, they're actually okay for standards. I think the problem is that we don't really have good teaching methods in schools, and so therefore we kind of yeah, there's a lot that's wrong with American education. But okay, not the standards aren't necessarily one of the things that we should blame for this. Now, for us, what standards should we choose? Standards are essentially a goal. What somebody wants to get out of something. So, in math, like a standard might be able to use the Pythagorean theorem to find the distance between 2 points. That could be a standard. Uh, so for us, what do we want to do? We want, well, first of all, there's like the entire to do things. So we want to be able to like pass those tests. For other things that are just with Axum, like backend, that you should always be able to do with a backend server, we should be able to spin up a hello world. I don't know if I need to have like a install Rust standard for this. We did that for like the previous course in this sort of like series, which the U course. We could have a video on it, but I don't think that would be a standard. Um, so spin up a hello world server. I want to, once we have a hello world server, well, I guess we can start from the end, right? We have a full to do API. And how we got there is where's our list of tests? Don't need you here. Um, so we should be able to create a router. Okay, we should be able to create a router. Create a router to handle, um, I guess like creating to handle HTTP methods. Sort of like alongside the router, we should be able to create an extractor to get the body of a request. Create an extractor to get a URL, a path variable. That would be, oh, we need to create an extractor to get um, the headers. We need to apply middleware to, I guess, like apply middleware to uh, routes. Now, if we're looking at like creating a user, okay, we need to be able to connect a database using a connected database. So we're going to use CORM for this. This isn't going to necessarily do like exactly what the standards don't state that. The individual lessons will have that in there. Okay, so we connect database. We want to we want to be able to share database connection. So share a share data between all routes. So that would be like the layers. So maybe in this case, it would be create a layer. Create a layer to share data between routes. We need to enforce, like when we create something, when we create a task, well, I want to validate that the uh, validate incoming data. We want to also part of like sort of creating a user validate incoming data. The starting stuff, what actually is part of that. We are getting close to that. We are getting close to that stacking. Also, good morning. Um, validate incoming data. Okay, so after we validate incoming data, we have a connected database. Um, we don't need any like headers at like create. Or we need to be able to create a like a token or something else. Which I'm not exactly sure that there's like something special about about any of this. This is like validate the data. So to create a task, should not be able to create a task when not logged in. So part of that will be these. Okay, so get all tasks. Should get all my tasks. Should I be able to get any task when logged? Oh, we need error handling. Okay, so return a custom error. So should be able to return a when there's an error, return a return the appropriate status code and message. So that's where we have that app error. I'm about to get deleted tasks. Okay. Um, we need that double. We need like the double option thing with Serde. That's fun. We need Chrono. It's like should be able to create a date. Should be able to insert a date into the database. I don't know if that one is like more of a standard or more of just a lesson for a very specific thing. I don't know. Get one task. So get my task. Not be able to get another user's task. I do suppose if we're using CORM, so if we put this up to like we have hello world that goes in there. Would just creating the basic router I feel like that would okay, so hello world would be that. And then for you I want like routing. Create an extractor. So the extractor to get the HTTP methods, the body of a request, the path variable, maybe even the headers, and middleware is all under routing. Possibly even layers. And returning the appropriate status code. So then we have database. So we'll just call it data. Connect the database. Validate the incoming data. I wonder if this would be under security or routing. This might be under data, right? Like data coming in, data being stored, data going back out again is all sort of under data. So we want to validate that data. Let's see. Should be able to update another user's task. Wonder if I want something like soft deleting in here or not. Working, let's see. We have the working with options. I don't know. Oh, and then my functions that it sort of did for helping out. Okay. Let's then take a look at the main code in here. So we start with main. Okay, so we need to load environment variables in. That might be under security. So load secrets with environment variables. think what I want to do is keep you over to the right like that. Okay, so we need environment variables, um, creating jots. So create a jot. Under security 2 is going to be handle errors. Like handle errors nicely. Handle errors without crashing. We want a centralized configuration. A big part of that is going to be routing. So like creating a layer to share data between. Okay. Then we have the run. Okay. We do that. Then we move into the library. Create a database connection. We create a router. We get that going. I suppose having this run in Docker would be nice. Um, what would this be under? Like DevOps or deployment, maybe? Uh, we're gonna have this would be ops deployment. Uh, run the server in a Docker container. Maybe I'll do this as DevOps, uh, because then we could. There might be some other little things around, like to make the dev and the ops part nice. So like deploying. So we need to deploy the server. Okay, so we have the main library. All right, from this, now we have our configuration. I don't think we need that. We have utilities for like handling errors. So handling errors without crashing. Hash password. Verify. Okay, yeah. So part of security is handling hashing, hash a password, hash passwords. Let's see. For you, creating our user response. I do think I like having the different structs sort of in their appropriate places. I do wonder whether or not it would be even better to have them be like one file per one of these structs, because they can get a little bit crazy. but at the same time, it's not really that bad either. Okay, yeah, so we have the types here, but the types really, I don't, that's gonna be part of like an extractor. Returning message. Um, return the appropriate status code and message when erroring. And then another one as part of router would be return JSON data. Part of data. So connecting a database, we want to CRUD the data. So we want to be able to create I wonder would the standard be just like to CRUD? I think it might be essentially. We want to be able to CRUD data in the database. And we also want to soft delete data in a database. Although that might be part of CRUD, is we have the hard delete and then we have the soft delete. So CRUD data in database, including soft deletions. How about that? Let's see. Anything else in here? Create the router. So we have middleware, I believe. So apply middleware. Have the layers to pass in data. We have a router. We can have our hello. Okay, we have our hello world. Mark on completed. Okay, so we have all of you too. So get the headers. To get the body of the request. To get JSON data. JSON from the body. Create an extractor to get a string from the body. I think those are the two things that we really care about. We have soft deleting. We have time. So we work with time. There's CRUD. Okay, so that's gonna be part of update for CRM. Wonder for this one. Okay, so we could do something with Docker to run this in there. So it's run the server in a Docker container. Um, there's two ways you might want to run the server in a Docker container. One is for development purposes, and one is for deployment purposes. Because you could deploy this on something like DigitalOcean and just like run it in a Docker container. That would be fine. Or you could also run this locally in a Docker container so your entire team is able to work on it using the exact same technologies. So this would almost be like run the server in a Docker container, um, and use a Docker container for development. Now we have these. These are all generated by CRM, which is what we're planning on using. Do I need data to see connect the database, validate the incoming data, CRUD the data in the database? Um, I don't really think so. I think connect the database would include things like this. So there might be multiple lessons per standard. But I think that this is okay for like standard wise. And then if I want lessons inside of that, then we can just do one more in for these. Okay, so spin up a hello world server. So things that we need to verify is like in I guess we'd have like installing Rust. Um, we also need using this repo. So like using the course repo. We need once we have this to do I suppose like adding in like whatever extensions. It's like setting up VS Code. I think we're just gonna use setting up VS Code only for this one. We're not gonna do another editor for it. Everybody will be on their own for other editors. This does seem to be the most popular one, anyways, these days. Okay, so we have install Rust, using the course repo, setting up VS Code. What else would we need for this? Um, then I guess spinning up like spinning up the Hello World server. So create Hello World Axum server, and then I guess testing it. Like, what method of testing are we going to use? So I'm gonna use ThunderClient for this one. So testing manually testing the server with ThunderClient. Okay, so that would be that. Uh, creating a router to handle HTTP methods. So obviously we have like spinning up a router. We have get, post, um, so we want to create router. We do this router new. I suppose one thing, if we're building up to something like this, we start with like maybe a router in its own file and then break it out like this where we create a create router method. I don't know. This is useful for me mentally, but it's not really all that necessary. And somebody who like knows Rust will be able to do this uh, to sort of break it out. But for learning it, I don't think it's really necessary. I think this is just for me. Now, once we're in here, log out. Like we have the incoming stuff that we don't really care. That's very dependency injection-y. We have our users, we do the thing, and then we save to the database. But like what we do with it, so create a router to handle HTTP methods. There might only be one lesson in this. Um, creating a router. Maybe it'll make two lessons, like creating a router, and then creating a router. Well, we have a hello world REST server, which means that we need a create hello world Axum server. So if we do this, we already have a router now, don't we? We have just the basic router. So this is more of like how does the router work? I guess it is really just going to be about the different services, isn't it? So then using let's see, handling HTTP methods. I guess that would just be this, because like it's pretty much exactly the same. Once you get into the handler, you don't even know that it was in a put anymore. It's just a function, and who cares how it was called? Create an extractor to get JSON from the body. So this is going to be we have to use Serde, and we have to create the type and pull that in. Okay, so create an extractor to get JSON from the body. Um, okay, so uh, creating this is probably one. These are probably like one lesson for all of these. Um, extract. Um, extracting JSON from the body, or maybe handling JSON. receiving JSON. Create an extractor to get a string from the body. This should probably go first before the other one. So this is receiving receiving data in a post. Receiving data in a post. You happen up here. So this would be receiving JSON in a post. Create an extractor to get a path variable from a request. This would be handling path variables. Something else that we didn't do with ours, but is really, really important, which would be create an extractor to get query parameters. So handling query params. Create an extractor to get the headers. Okay, so this would be handling headers. Apply middleware to routes. Okay, so this might be two. We have to create the middleware itself, which we see is something like this. And then we have to position the middleware appropriately. And then when we go into auth required like this, we have this next. It's this entire fun thing. Yeah, I think this will be two different functions, two different lessons. I think this will be just creating any middleware whatsoever. So creating middleware function. And then the next one is positioning middleware functions. Create a layer to share data between routes. So this will be sharing data between routes. Really, this was probably like using layers to share data between routes. Return the appropriate status code and message when erroring. So this would be returning a status code other than 200. So turning status codes. I think that's what this would be, is returning status codes. So we just want to set that up. Returning JSON data. So when we have JSON data to return, we just want to respond with JSON data. And up here we have respond with just a string. Okay, data. Connect a database. So install C or M. We have CORM installed. We need to connect CORM to the database. Once we've connected it to the database, what do I want to do for this? And I suppose also for like under data, do I want to have a standard for actually just like installing and running the database? So creating a database, set up a local database with Docker. We connect that database. If I remember correctly, there was connect to a database. Step 1, install dsol. Step 2, pain. Step 3, uninstall dsol. Step 4, install CRM. That's kind of what we did, but they don't. The learners don't need to do that. The learner, they can go straight to CRM. Okay, so creating a database. We need a database. So you need to learn how to set up a local database with Docker. Once we have the database in Docker, we need to install CRM. We need to connect CRM to the database. Now, part of that, I believe, was we had some dot files to set up, and then we have to extract this database stuff. Because these are CRM entities, create the model. Okay, create the models. So install CRM, connect the CRM to the database. We need to create the or generate the CRM data models. Once we have those, we're essentially connected and we're good to go. Because then the rest is going to be under CRUD. So validate incoming data. So part of validation here will be to use serialize and deserialize. So using serde to deserialize data. Other things, I guess that would be just the types. We probably also want to use like helper functions. So now where did I put the validators? One of these we had a validation thing. I forget, was it under tasks? Create task. We set these. Request task. Oh yeah. This is where we essentially can do our validations. So a custom extractor. So using serde to deserialize data is one thing, but I also need to validate or custom data extractor, custom JSON extractor. That is where we put the validation. Maybe validate data with a custom JSON extractor. That way, by the time it gets here, we know you're good. We trust you. Then we cred the data. So we want to create create in the database. So create a row in the database. We want to read, so get one get one item from the database. Get all items from the database. We want to do an atomic update. Atomic updates. We want to do what is it? So atomic, and then we have patch updates. Atomic, and then just normal updates. I forget what the word is. Like that's the sibling to atomic. Partial updates. Patch updates. Then we have deleting data, and then we have soft deleting data. Okay, so I think once we do all these things, that pretty much handles everything that we want. Because in security, we'll be load secrets from handle errors without crashing, hash passwords. Okay, so then in this one, we do need to make sure we filter. So want to filter the so get all items to the database, filter the items to get like filter using filters. Working with time. Okay, so what time to use in a database? So like what kind of time to use in the database? We want to then use the chrono crate to get the current time. So getting like this is more like creating current time. I guess like storing current time in a database. Storing current time in the database. And then getting a time from the database. And then also, I guess there would be sending time back to the client. Responding with time. I can name that one responding in time. I think that will cause everybody to just rage quit the course as soon as they get to it. Security. Load secrets with environment variables. So we're no longer using .env. The new thing seems to be .envy, .env. So I guess this would be like a dot. We use .env. Just like to bring that up, and then also we want. So we have .env and I guess just normal environment variables, like I don't know, .env to load a .env file, and I guess like maybe the lesson right before it would be loading environment variables. Creating a jot. So we want to create a jot. We want to validate the jot. Let's see. Part of this, maybe with CRUD, is handling nulls in the database. And then we also want to handle the option, which should be part of this patch updates. But even if I don't, I could do handling nulls in here. Okay, create the jot, validate the jot, handle errors without crashing. So this will be advanced error handling, or like basically an app error. So advanced error handling, which means we also want map error. So map error. And I don't think I necessarily need to introduce the question mark in its own lesson. I don't think we're going that sort of basic with this. I think basically advanced error handling, and then map error. I think these two. Maybe I can custom error struct, custom error object, custom error response, and then map error to sort of then convert. So converting errors to custom error, converting errors maybe. Hashing passwords. I probably don't need a why you need to hash passwords lesson. If I do, maybe this isn't the best lesson. This is the best course for that. That's like an entire security like concern right there. But I'll do like maybe like a brief like, hey, why should you do this? You should care about this a lot. And if you don't build apps that I use. Okay, so hash errors, hash passwords. We want to, I guess, like set up. I mean, it might be just a single lesson. It's like hash password. Oh, want to hash the hash the password and validate hash. That's the two things. DevOps, running the server in a Docker container. Really, I think this would be two lessons right here, right? So use a Docker container for development. Use a Docker container for production. Deploy the server. So where would we want to deploy this? I could deploy this in, we can do like a lesson on like ECS. We can do like EC2. We can use DigitalOcean. So I guess the easy thing would be directly to a VPC. So directly to a virtual private server. And where else do people put these? We might be able to use something like, do we want to stay with AWS or do we want to use something else like Heroku? Because I believe we can use a Docker image with Heroku, although I've heard that Heroku is that they're taking away the free tier, and I think that it's losing a pretty significant amount of popularity because of that. But I'm not. Maybe we'll just do this directly to a VPS. Now, names of the lessons will obviously be they'll be up to change. So okay, so we have this is the plan. All right, so the way it works is so we have our key. This is sort of like unit. Then we have standard. Then we have lesson. So we have the key, the plan, the key, and then that's the thing. I don't think this needs to be a title. Just go like that. Is it a key or is it a legend? Okay. I think this is good enough to get us started. We have, well, I guess like after the unit, there's gonna be one more, which is project. So something to prove to yourself that you're able to do that. So I guess like the standard for this would be create a server that enforces that passes all tests. So introduce the project, and then I probably want like a series of lessons. So before I did sort of like the live coding style, I think actually I might want to do just a series of small lessons just like this, where it's like, okay, building like spinning up the like this will be like spinning up the solution. Project follow along. And then the first part, right? So that would be spinning up the project, and then with more to sort of follow. Okay. Well, obviously it's the end of my stream now. It's almost 8:30. So I need to go pretty soon. I need to go now. But I'm fairly happy with this so far. It's not quite as many of videos that I sort of thought it might be. There's still a decent amount. I'm guessing that to get to this point, we may find more videos that we have to do and sort of add to it. So this obviously is going to change. I'm also going to merge this in to the main branch. I have this under learning Axum. I might also merge this in and then delete the learning Axum part, but like keep the README and some of the other things. I don't know. I'm gonna leave this for right now. Let's go ahead and add in created plan for Axum course and push that on up. All right, everybody, thank you so much for hanging out today. I need to head off to work. I will not be streaming tomorrow. Tomorrow is Wednesday. I spend the morning doing some exercise, riding my bike. So instead, I'll be back Thursday morning, which I believe we're going to hopefully start recording. We might also come up with like the logo and what it's going to look like. I have to sort of decide how that's going to work for us. But exciting times. So I will see you all Thursday. Have a great rest of your day, and bye.